The Johnson Amendment is the very definition of arbitrary and capricious. It was introduced by a United States Senator to protect his own reelection campaign. It was targeted not only at nonprofit organizations, some of whom were impacting Johnson's campaign, but at religious and other organizations. And the language was so vague as to have allowed decades of churches, charities, libraries, and educational nonprofits to work in fear that simply saying the wrong thing could not only deprive them of their tax-exempt status, but the donations that are frequently given because of that status. That alone should be sufficient reason to simply rescind the amendment. And why should an organization not be allowed to speak their position on a piece of legislation or a candidate as a condition of their tax-exempt status? Should a group of people peaceably assembled for religious or charitable purposes not be allowed to speak on topics of public interest? Interestingly enough, to my knowledge, the Johnson Amendment has never been challenged in court. I've even heard of organizations that encourage ministers to preach on the subject of candidates and legislation for the specific purpose of filing a complaint with the IRS. Why would someone do this? Because they believe the Johnson Amendment would not survive a First Amendment challenge in federal court. These organizations hope that the IRS would threaten their tax-exempt status, which would give them standing to sue. To my knowledge, even though thousands of legitimate complaints have been filed by these organizations, not a single tax-exempt status has been threatened or revoked. Could it be that the IRS isn't as sure about the constitutionality of the Johnson Amendment as many might think? Rather than getting rid of this bad law, Congress seems to want to tweak around the edges. While not the best solution, I think it would be better than what we have now. This legislation is still in progress. Maybe we can even convince our elected representatives to make it better before the final vote.